Mm. Happy Monday, strong discernment, Lorenzo. Joyful Monday to everyone. We're going to wait till the midnight hour. This is the Chocolate Mountain Show. I am your host. Eight Wind is timeless. It all starts with a gentle sadness. I am the holder of the continuous ball game that was created by the Hero Twins. I am your galactic daddy-o, sitting on your galactic patio this evening from Minnesota to the universe. Anise, thank you for joining me. Ah, and to get the commercial out the way, we are still going to the Alaska Amber. Last one for the weekend. So pop them if you got them, smoke them if you want them. I should show my new rig. Yeah, don't have to use it as much. Oh, my throat. It's like, thank you. But want to show some of my alchemy. You watched the other night, you know that Crazy Sarge sent me a lot of powdered shungite, and so I used. I'm not gonna touch my bag, but I used the bag that I had already that I ordered a couple months ago, and started experimenting with it. Um, Now, what's interesting, the first thing I'm going to show you is everybody can do, and this is very effective. Now, I didn't really do a good job, kind of couldn't, I had some cards and I couldn't find the cards where I could get a better gauge. But uh, this is a part, I don't want to waste any of it. Okay, because you keep using it. But and I know looks bad, but technically you could make it like a paint kind of texture. And again, this is too thick, but you could make it like a paint type of texture and put it on a small cue card, and you could put that on your Wi-Fi. Now you'd have to see how much it really if it stopped it or slowed it down, I'd say put it on another place. But if it just doesn't stop your performance, put this thing. You could get some paint. Painting again, this is just a sloppy thing, but just giving for reference, you could paint this and you could put this on your Wi-Fi, and this would stop a lot of rays. I guess what is it? Negative ions or positive ions your TV and your Wi-Fi put out. Just something like this has been shown and proven it could be almost just as protective if you actually had the real stone. And so what people do is when they make Shugite rooms is they paint this. And so nothing really penetrates it. They get that much and they paint the room. And they have things in the furniture. Especially you can get a like belts, or you can even get a thing you can lay on. Uh, so this is just one way you could use this. Now, well, something interesting I found working on it. Oh, and let me show you my experiment. I really have a thing with the nails. But now what I did is I brought my ultrasound out. Matter of fact, I'm going to get another. I'm going to get a hot and cold ultrasound um, maker that'll do hot and cold. But it comes with a type of gel that activates it. And so I put some of this Shugite with the gel as I was using the ultrasound, trying to put the Shugite different and deeper in my skin. I cut it with lotion and I cut it with some eucalyptus oil, essential oil. I think it's 10 milligrams of the real oil. And so put lotion on, and after a while, it doesn't even. Well, anyway, I'll stick with the ultrasound. So I did the ultrasound on my arms with that, so to get this Shugite even deeper penetrating. And then I took some lotion and put it on my hands afterwards, mixed with the Shugite. And I'll say this: right as soon as I was done both hands, I felt a very unique warming sensation. Um, it really made my hands feel tighter. Imagine if you put this on your face, but it really made my hands feel tighter. And I put this on about 3 o'clock, so going about 10 hours, I can really feel where the deeper penetrating of the soreness is. And so, but the most unique thing, again, and this washes off. I mean, it's not like you can't wash it off. And I want to show you to see this has been sitting up for a while. Now tomorrow I'm going to get some CBD and add this. Trying not to waste this powder, but okay. Now I don't know how much I can show, but where you see it's runny, this is interesting what it's done. Now I just messed around and put a cheap lotion in there just to kind of activate it. But what you see on top of it is like the oils. It has pushed the fake stuff out and literally pushed it back to the top. And I know it's kind of hard to see, but if you can see a little oily, that is actually the Shugite pushing the bad stuff out. And so you can skim it out already. I found that fascinating. Yes, the spoon is thick, but all this is reusable. You can crush this and put it back in there, and so it's still sitting up again, keeping it in a bowl like this. I'm gonna do the CBD. I'm gonna try to find the finest grade I can find. And yes, this stuff is messy, but far as the healing benefits, um, really there. But of all the things, to use it for something like this, even just doing a couple little 8 by 10s and putting it on a few spots in your walls, you would really find some benefits. I would especially say even your bedroom might benefit even that more. You could even do a whole wall and just put it on the cards and then just tack the cards up for your bedroom. It would protect your bedroom from these rays with just little cards with this kind of stuff on it. You can look that up, and there's plenty of YouTube ones that can show that. And it is a mess, but again, it's so deep penetrating. I've been dealing with this stuff since 15 now. I've been adjusting the water, so taking the next step of alchemy. So um, uh, uh, hey Valerie, thank you for joining me. I see a lot of people coming on later, doing live channels. It's crazy. 10 other people. I guess the energy is out. Black goo. Yeah, it is. It does look very much like black goo. Nanotech. Yeah, yeah, that works for me. Time Lord, people are starting to change now. Put it has begun, and food wars are going to happen this summer. Well, I mean, if you didn't really understand what they did to the people in Texas and why they did that to the people in Texas, they were trying to weaken um, the people in Texas with the guns. I mean, that's what it's going to turn into. They're going to try that on people in Texas again, and it's going to be all about the guns and saying, well, turn the guns in, and then uh, let me look at my hands, turn the guns in, and we'll give you heat. That's what I could see them turning this thing into. So, yeah, but it's like the summertime, people be able to feed themselves. The thing is when the hard weather comes, and how much you have stacked and stored up. Remember, cans have a long shelf life. I don't know if people have ever been into bomb shelters. The things they saying, well, if the shit up top blew up and you had to go in a bomb shelter. One of the security companies I own, we had a contract with a company, and the company actually had a bomb shelter. And I remember we had to go in there and open it up. And we got to look in the shit, and they took some of the shit apart, and some of the shit was still edible. And this stuff had been down there like 40 plus, no, probably, well, this was in the 80s. So yeah, probably 40 some years. And some of it was still edible. They took it all out. But at one time, some of that stuff was still edible. So be surprised what'll last. And you'll be surprised what you eat if you starve. Yeah. I just found some old water that I got to pour out. It ain't been treated or nothing. It's another thing when you store water, especially in plastic, you got to treat that shit. But actually, I could keep it and then treat it through the sugar and then try. But yeah, this is my alchemy. So Crazy Sarge has me on the alchemy thing, which I've been talking about, and I'm glad I have extra. I'm gonna get a paintbrush and make some and just paint some cards and show some people kind of how you can do it a little neater. And yeah, because this is a thing that is really made. It's one crystal amongst all crystals that is really here for the better of mankind. I'll say that. It is really that kind of energy. How can I connect with you? Where can we help? That's the kind of energy you get from it. The other ones just kind of give you a protective bond because most black crystals are just by their nature more grounded. But Sugar is like, yeah, you show me how I can protect you, and you just apply it. And so that's why. Hey, Crazy Sarge, you're going to be able to silver that water. That's a next step too, is getting that equipment out of the same equipment you're talking about. I've been looking to get it. They will raise the prices on their products. That means detergent and paper towels. Wow. You're going to be able to silver that water. Hey, Antoine, I'm going to try that as well. That's one of the next steps that I want to try as well, is trying to put the silver content in the water. But I'll say this, I'm already in the habit of eating off of silver utensils. I'm going to continue that. I do that with my daughter. I don't do that with my son because he'll lose the shit. And I'm not going to lose $25 or no, the plate is about $12. $12 spoon because he just forgets where the fuck he put it. So no, he doesn't get that. But my daughter and I do. And all I like even coffee, stir my coffee with the spoon in it. So I already exposed myself to a lot of the silver in that way and then wearing the silver too. It actually will reach down into your pores. As I was saying earlier this week in the sun, I just noticed the silver in my skin. And that's another thing, why you want to put the copper in your body as well. You got to remember that to find a way to put copper in your body because these are two metals that are good for your body. And then the gold helps with your mind. And I know the gold is the Anunnaki thing, but you can't beat that it does hug big swallow tobacco, but that it does activate your mind. And that's one thing that gold will do. And as we get older, that's one thing they want to attack is, especially, melanated people is they want to attack your mind. You guys should check out Ancestral Productions past two shows. Maybe it's this beautiful sister he has. And she repeats something that's beautiful. She was saying that the way melanin works is that melanin is actually a brain on a brain in itself. So the more melanin you have, the stronger this brain is. And so it's like the melanin in your skin is actually a type of brain. And I already knew the heart was a brain. Your heart is a brain as well. Your heart has made some of the first decisions as you come in. The heart is made. And so the heart is just as much as a brain as what do they say when you get married? And love comes from the heart. So we have like three different types of brains, but melanin in itself is a type of brain, which gets into very symbiotic. Venom, wasn't Venom the all black one? It made me think of that too. I'm like, wow, because that's what they're showing you. Venom is a live parasite that needs a host, but you notice the host is jet black, and they make it evil. So, it gets if you guys if it gets bad, you guys going to your local mall. If you don't believe that'd be a good, and mall is a good place to hold up for a couple of days. Well, I'll say this: don't go to Walmart. Don't think you can go to Walmart and that you'll be able to hold up there and you know eat and nah. They showed you during the Houston. Well, they showed you in Katrina. They showed you in Katrina that the local law enforcement, the area law enforcement, was going to operate out of Walmart, and the same thing happened down in Houston in several different WalMarts, where the military and the police and their families was able to fall back into the WalMarts. So you'd have to think of something else. Local gasoline stations, easy to defend. You can pretty much see around the motherfucker. You know how to cut off, all the gas and the tanks. If that shit go off outside, you still could probably be all right. I'm telling you, one of the best spots I used to have. I used to have a laundromat shop, and one of the best things about it and why I bought the property is it had a basement. And not only did it have a basement, it had a basement where the only way you could get in was with this elevator. The other way was like a little escape tunnel. You had to actually go through this little escape tunnel to get out. But the only way to really get in was with this elevator. And I love that little building. That was one of the little hustles. I love that because they could never come in there. So something like that, if you had access where you could get in and out. It was like what was the bird box or whatever it was called, blind box. The dude they in the supermarket, and the dude with the alcoholic said, "Shit, this is heaven to me, baby. Why would I ever go back to that house? Everything we need is up in here." Then the brother sacrifices himself. Well, I knew the crazy guy before he zombied. So, so yeah, that's some things to consider as well. I think copper helps you retain your melanin. I think yeah, that's part of it as well. I mean, if you get like studying melanin, and there's some deep ass books you can get, expensive to stop you from trying to study this information. But it's the stories about melanin and how it is inside of your system, and then the diseases that it causes when you don't have it. Like it was showing a lot of these diseases. Um, that came from not having melanin. That was so interesting, and it wasn't just diseases; it was like mental disorders from not having melanin. I thought it was interesting. Uh, and so yeah, it's a little messy, but I feel the benefits in my hand, the healing properties. Like I can imagine if you put this on your face, and you can still putty it up too. It doesn't have to be this painting. I've just been working with it to try to see. Tobacco. Tastes good. So tomorrow I'm gonna get the CBD lotion. I'm gonna contact the girl that can give me the THC lotion too. I want to work with that as well. Still thinning it out, seeing how it's working, and I put good water. I put the copper sugarite water. I didn't use the tap water. I did use the cheap lotion. It's funny how it pushes. Again, it pushed the impurity. That was the word I was looking for. It pushed the impurity back to the top. I think that was really cool. It's like shit. It ain't fucking around. So I like this, and I'm trying to see what I can do. I want to turn some into a paste, keep it a little thicker, because you can do like a little. Remember, I used to a little putty that used to come in the egg, and you could do the back when the newspapers had the color pictures, and you could thumb the putty on it, and you pull it up, and it would show the picture. I can't remember what that shit, Goody Putty or some shit it was called, but like Sunday newspapers used to, the comics was all colored. It was one day a week where the black and white comics was colored on the weekends, and so you could take that putty and you could make a picture, silly putty. I think that's what it's called, silly putty. So you could make it in something like that and put it over something that's hurt. I imagine you could even put it where, because I'm telling you, I felt the tightening of my skin. My skin feels really, still really, really. I don't know. It's still a tightness. I still feel in my skin. So I can imagine if you applied to this, women putting on wrinkles, it would probably help. Silly putty. Yeah, yeah. There we go. Hey, PJ, thank you. I hope work is going smooth for you. So I'm gonna try to turn it into that and just start working with it and putting it out and letting people try it. So I think even just getting the CBD, I think there'll be a lot of benefits from that. And again, I could keep it a lot of just CBD and just put a little of this in there and enough to constitute where to have healing abilities to you. So you have two things that would give you healing abilities, and that's what it's all about. Because I was using my massager and I put this stuff like when this stuff was first on, I was putting it on my legs, my knees. I could see my knees, and then I went with my little hand massager and went around. And so it's just these are the kind of things like the thing about the gun massagers are if you have any soreness that's sore all the time, one thing of massage is they call it friction. And so what you're actually doing is like when I go in there for my elbow and my hand, she would work on one direction. She's like, when you make sure you go in one direction. So you work on that main muscle that you need. And so like there's a spot in here that was sore. And I just been working on it with the little gun. You can it's different speeds. And it doesn't matter how much you pay. I got mine for $37 from Macy's. And you work on the store spot. Man, really, it's beneficial. I've been doing that to my back. I go to chiropractor in a few hours. Yeah, the chiropractor, I'm gonna be blowed up in there and let him adjust me and then put them pins in me. Yeah, then I take off. Then I take off for a minute. Yeah. I want to say this last night meditating. I don't know if I have any Verges. I guess I'll just have to use this, but I was using my other Verge. Oh my goodness. I don't know if people really realize like when you really shift realities, it's a hell of a feeling. And it's such a shift and it feels so sudden and at times it can really take you by what is the word I'm looking for, like you might just like feel it at when it ends, but it's like I'm able to kind of capture the moment and stuff, and so I felt it and I was like looking at the colors, hearing the sounds, and I just felt it's like woo, and it was quite a feeling. I was like, I caught that experience, but it just like just and this my other Virgin, my brass one again, it took me a long time to activate it, but it has that Motivite on there. It just like woo. I was like, yeah, that's what. Hey, Jody, thank you for joining me. Hey, Jay, thank you for joining me. So that's that was quite the experience. I'm gonna say this, Jeffrey. To me, it seems like the same stuff they was showing in Italy. First, the same shit they was showing, in China. They showed the same shit in Italy, and it just seems like it's a repeat. I mean, it's like keep that fear out there because summer coming and people ain't gonna take you seriously because it's summer. So we have to keep fear in the back of the mind somewhere, saying, well, where it's warm, they're getting effective. So that's all. So I'm not. I'm fuck their fear. They can keep their fear. I'm not buying into any of their fear. They can keep that shit. I already see the program that they're trying to operate on, and I don't have to operate on that channel. I can just turn it. I mean, that's the thing, and that's the of all the things when you look at why people believe so much of what the spokesmen say, the things that get me is that these are the same company that has told stories for years and lied for years. They haven't changed anything. I mean, these are the same people that have said the same story one way or another. When I joke, the old Temptation song went, "Vote for me and I'll set you free." That's the same theme. That's been the same theme since the 60s. So now they got to find a way to keep you scared. I mean, it ain't enough that everybody just took the plunge. They want to keep that fear going. It's all about fear. So I just say, I look at their fear and I kick their fear in the ass and say, step off, baby. Step off, shorty. Because exactly. You both are very much welcome. Oh, okay, cool. Hemp. Oh, yes. Take me out internally. Hemp powder is high in copper, like 70% per serving. Oh, sweet. Thank you, Valerie. So I'm gonna try to get some of that too. I'm gonna cut into her, but I don't know because I'll see. But I definitely the CD person. They're coming after the food. Well, they've been coming after the food. You know, I came across a report that said all the land was dead in the 70s, and that's why they had to make the seeds that grew in this dead shit. So that kind of shows you a little bit of is this the reality, a real reality? That is what you have to consider. Like you can pretty much already know the script ahead of time. As I was just reflecting earlier today, I saw that the schools was going to be closed and everything was just changing. It was just in the air. It was like every day I picked my daughter up, I was thankful. Every day, sitting in the gym, picking her up, her seeing me. And every moment of doing that, I was like, because this is going to change. So I wasn't caught when I was like, okay, now tell your children to stay at home. People never really, people here didn't buy into the shit. People ain't never here wore masks outside. As soon as people get outside, they take that shit off. It's always been like that. Nobody ever listened to Washington or any of these motherfuckers. Now, my people in Michigan, they got them so scared, they wear masks outside. Like I was even watching the ball game at the Twins and even other cities around the nation. You know, Sunday night baseball. Some people had them on, some people didn't. And you can see this agenda. It was somebody in the news, and it's like, chick, you're in a field, and people ain't nobody near you, and she had the mask on. Again, it's showing you stay on the script. We can't celebrate the script too much. And again, we had a Kentucky Derby with 50,000 people. 50,000 people. Now they're gonna say that all that money they made, and they got two more races coming up. You think in these next two more, well, it's gonna take because they do about it's about 3 weeks, about 2-3 weeks before they'll race again. You think they trying to mess with that money? When they go to the Preakness and the Belmont, you think they trying to tell people they got to be masked up outside and shit, and they ain't gonna be allowed to make that bread? You got the goddamn Indy 500 coming. That they're already saying they're gonna let damn near 100,000 people up in there. Maybe yeah, half. That place holds 280, something like that. They're gonna let over 100,000 people. So you think they really worried? They letting these people make that bread. And that's what they know. They're gonna let these people make that bread on every level. You see how what was funny, how the Republicans fucking with the baseball, saying you want to take the baseball thing away. And remember what they did to Charlotte? They took the thing away for Charlotte in the bathrooms. Then you see Chris, whatever, the Jenner, used to be the Jenner Olympic dude. He said one of the realest things that any politician has said. He said it ain't fair. It ain't fair just because a person take hormones. Now he can race against other people. That's not fair. And it's not me hating one way or another. That is not fair. Like the dude who he was the worst dude. He was the worst hurdler amongst dudes. Out of 300 and some, he was number 300. Took some hormones. They let him do some races as a female. He's the top female athlete in college. That shit ain't fair. And this is how easy it is. How easy it is. Let them have their own sports. You gave sports to handicapped people. How hard would it be to have that as their own sport? How hard would it be? You saying it's that many people create their own leagues? That's all you got to do. You can do it for handicapped people. You can do it for this group of people. There won't be any quarrel. It'll be people. They be competing against people like just like them. Play college hoops, kind of same thing. College hoops, college pros, kind of same thing. It's their own league. And that's real. It was a thing they was talking about Brittany Griner, and they said that they didn't want to let the bag out of her sexuality. Everybody knew why she liked women. I made an old video that they made, and I critiqued it. And Sue Bird, more bald than me. So I'm not hating on them, but it's like they already got leagues like that. So put that in track. Give them their own Olympics, all of it. Their own national championships, their own Olympics. Let them have it all. They try to do the thing on chicken because chicken's one of the cheapest thing. I agree. Trans folks here have their own category, their own sports tournaments. There you go. There's nothing wrong with that. Starving people out. I mean, they could. Summer's a little easier to eat though, because the farms could open up. Like one thing that the farms did last year. I live near Wisconsin, where it's cheese and milk country, and they when they closed the restaurants down, they started selling what they could sell. They was giving it away. They was selling directly to consumers like they did in the old days. Come buy milk from us. It's like fuck wasting this shit. Come to these farms and buy the shit from us. Come get the milk from us. And a lot of people did that when they first put this shit in effect. It's like, hey, we got to get rid of it some kind of way. Government was saying, just waste it. And these people's like, oh, no. Then that's what they came in. They said the government told us to waste this shit. It's like we're not gonna waste it. Some they sold and some they just gave to people. And that's all they got to do. I mean, that's like when you go to these food banks, it's crazy. They got just deliveries already popping up where you can go just get all this produce stuff. I mean, I hustle everywhere to make sure people. My little man zombie days like, thank you for the stuff you dropped off. I was like, did you get that little bunny? Because when I saw it, I knew you'd want it. Like, oh yeah, I tore that shit up a couple days ago. But like I said, I would rather him have sugar than nothing. If he's by himself for a minute, he got some shit to munch on. And junk is better than hungry. Junk is better than hungry. It's like people don't eat like a lot of wheat. And so you see them giving away a lot of it. But when you got a decision to make between being hungry or I got to eat this wheat filled bread, you eat the wheat bread. It's better than being hungry. So yeah, being poor, you're not going to eat the greatest, but you can be stopped from being hungry. And that's any level poor. And we have a lot of baby boomers. I'll say this: the generation before the baby boomers, a lot of them folks, the pensions ain't feeding them, and it's a lot more of them out there than you would think. Because baby boomers, again, as far as population wise, it was an explosion in America like they've never. That's why they had a war to kill baby boomers. That's part of the Vietnam War for you. Killed 50 some thousand. Well, it was about 40 some thousand before all the injuries afterwards. But that was an attack. You can look at the Civil War in some ways the same way. All the people it killed, what, 500,000 people? Some ways that was thinning the herd. Some ways that's what war is, it's thinning the herd. But Vietnam very much so went after baby boomers. I mean, it was a stupid war on every front. Heroin became a part of it, but it was just a way for people to make money. There was no military importance. When you look it up, and they'll say the domino theory. We let communism take over here to take over everywhere. Well, communism took over in 1918, 1917. So, yeah. But that's how they sold it to people. On a lie. They had been running 3, 4 man missions blowing up shit in North Vietnam. So they sent out their boats to stop them, patrol, to stop these secret missions from them blowing up shit. Then they made up like one of the little gunboats attacked this goddamn destroyer or attacked one of the supply boats. I guess the battle, not a battleship, it'd be more, I guess, the smaller one, like a destroyer. Kind of stupid is that? You got 50 calibers that to shoot the shit out of that. North Vietnamese had nothing that could take down that one of them missiles like that back then. It had to been some Russian shit, and they sold it to the American people. So this is a part of war. But I mean, the war against the people have always been the working people. I mean, that kind of went full effect under Reagan. And we don't have a middle class anymore. We pretty much have elites and workers. Like I was telling a story in the 80s how you wanted to make $500 a week and you wanted to make 24,000. Don't you know that 24,000 now is equivalent to about 100,000? This motherfucker's making 100,000, paying 25 plus tax. Can you imagine that? You make 100 grand and you have to pay in 25,000 worth of tax. And this year, because of all the initiatives, you gonna get some money back because of the children and all that. 100 grand sound good, but you ain't rich making 100 grand. It ain't like you hit the lottery because you're making that 100 grand. But that's equivalent to making 24,000 back in 82, 83, 84, somewhere in there. It's not you're not super rich. You still working class. Now if you pulling down about 600,000 to 800,000, I guess if that's the middle class. And it used to be 250. Anybody made over 250,000 was considered wealthy. That's way up. That ain't considered wealthy anymore. And it's a lot of super people got money. I got some friends that some people got money still. It's some people this shit didn't really fuck with. They wrote it out. Business is still going. And as I said, I know somebody else. I don't know what they look like they're gonna do something else with one of his properties he had. They put him out of business. And he had high prices. His shit wasn't, wasn't no cheap shit. He had very high prices. Very good food though. But yeah, this thing put him out of business. So oh yep. Deceivers. That's what the mags say. They are deceivers. All that shit used to have me cracking up. Yeah, those women work too hard, have their whole career just to compete against a man. Yep. They are deceivers. Talk about all these starlets, And I mean, how many people really think of a starlet and toss off? It's like, tonight, you just put in your imagination the starlet, that you're gonna toss off to. It's like, who was it last night? Okay, tonight it's going to be Nicki Minaj. And you just really put all your tossing off energy into Nicki and you're thinking about you and her and whatever. Who really does that? I mean, most people it'd have to be somebody you knew or something. Something that you could touch, not motherfucker you ain't gonna never see. Oh, Mac is so funny. Oh my goodness. I would just listen to him because he's just funny. And it seems like they bounce him all around too. But King Michael kind of he went after niggas. He didn't go after King Micah. King Micah like gave him a lot of pushback. Micah like broke him down and he quit fucking with that brother. But why should we attack each other? That's that Cain and Abel shit. I'm all about the hero twins. I rock with my people. I ain't never been no jealous motherfucker. I ain't never looked at anybody and say, well, damn, why he got that and I don't. I think I got the oldest car in my parking lot. And I don't feel bad when I drive my truck. I look at it as my truck will take me anywhere it pretty much I need to go. And that is what they're all about. They're all about getting you from A to B, safe as you can afford. Can you imagine you driving a car and these cars with no people going by? And I wouldn't be surprised if one day they have to build highways for them cars to drive by themselves. Because you got all these cars on the highway that drive by themselves, and you still got people driving cars around them. And one of them cars crashes you. Are you supposed to have a case against who? Who would you have the case against? The manufacturer of the car? Because it's supposed to have all the stuff that made accidents almost impossible. So wouldn't you want to sue them? Or would they make the problem still be with the person who owns the car? Be it he drive or not, be it he in it or not. Who would be responsible? I think that's why the hesitation would be. Because you got a brand new $100,000+ car and you got all these old cars, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, whatever, $14,000 cars near that. You gonna risk that? And you're gonna risk that liability though. So I don't see that happening no time soon. I just want I want one of them cars like in the movie Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. I can drive it around when I want to, and then I just start singing a song and shit. We are Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. We love you, and the car just starts flying. You know, old Model T just starts flying and shit. I need some of that. So get me the Chitty Chitty Bang Bang car. Tesla had one of their auto drivers crash. Yeah, yeah. And I think Tesla settled with some folks over that too. But that's the thing that they're working with. But like the new Navigators and the new Escalades, they'll drive by themselves. They'll stay in the lane for you. I mean, as long as you like just have a finger on it, it'll drive. I mean, the new cars, you just barely have to touch the steering wheel and it drive. You have to keep looking and shit. You start looking away, the car disengage, slow down. Like motherfucker, hey, I ain't driving this bitch. You got to pay attention. But some of you just barely touch the steering wheel. They'll steer for you pretty much. Motherfuckers will stop. uh, D say how old school. I want a Tesla. Teslas are cool. We've got a dealership here. It's not that far from me. You want to see Teslas? My man who builds the Teslas and builds his own Tesla. I like look him up. He'll show you the pros and cons of Tesla. I think he bought one of those Audis too, the electric car Audis, and show you all the pros and cons. I can't even think of his name since they took my other channel down. I gotta find that dude, but he's the Tesla mechanic or something. But he'll show you all the pros and cons of that stuff. So I found it kind of cool. Tesla stock went up after the news came out. And then Tesla saying now he's trading in the e-dollars, but the money that he makes will not go back into fiat dollars. It'll stay in the e-dollar realm. I thought that was interesting. He said that. So we're gonna keep it going. Oh, that was interesting. I thought that was interesting. And I see Dogecoin and Bitcoin are staying about the same. They've kind of held their own a little bit all weekend, it appears. It appears that seems like I checked, 58. Yeah, 58. So in the last 12 hours, it went up another $1,100, almost $1,200 in the last 12 hours. Last 12 days, this went up $5,000. Again, Cash App, you can put a Dogecoin went down in 12 hours. Took a 3% hit, which ain't great. So follow the money. Follow the money. And again, gold is going to be unchanged, other than, it's unchanged. Gold and silver is unchanged. Yeah. So silver's still around $25, $26, which is not bad. My little silver spoon I stir my milk in is real silver. And that shit will be worth the 25 or 26 bucks. Tesla came up 160 yards in front of it. Tesla can see up to 160. Oh, okay, I see. If you're off the grid, Tesla wouldn't let you put their power stations in it because it's not powered by oil or nuclear. That's a good point. Hey, Ethan, throttle by wire, brakes by wire, electric steering racks. You really have no control of new vehicles. There you go. There you go, Ethan. Hey, YT, what's happening? When I was working at Tesla vehicle plant, the car would drive itself in and out of the shop. They would form their own lines and park themselves in queues by themselves. Crazy to witness. Yeah, it had to be. Wow. To steal a Tesla, you'd have to unplug GPS connection. Yeah, you'd have to do a lot of that. You see how they got the snatch and grabs of taking them chargers and then demons. Motherfuckers bringing them demons in and they know how to snatch and grab them, sell them wherever they sell them. Because again, they taking them cars to some other countries because they ain't gonna be able to operate them cars here. You wouldn't think. You wouldn't think. So I think that's interesting. Wow, YT, that's crazy. That is real crazy. Wow, I didn't even know that. I've rode in a few Teslas. Yeah, I see the pros and cons. I like the idea of the Mustang, and then Audi's coming up with one. I mean, so all of them are going to do their thing with them, and it's going to happen. But it's like again, when you're driving compared to driving around them, you're driving people cars. But yeah, the new cars are yeah, you don't there's and it's killing like the backyard mechanics too. There's certain things they can do and certain things they can't do. It's like Mercedes, you ain't gonna take it to do brakes from somebody that can't hook all the electrics up. You just ain't gonna have a motherfucker. You got a Mercedes that you gonna let them do your brakes because there's so much to put together and so many tests that have to be run after the brakes. So it's almost impossible. You got to take it into them people. Oh, you don't have to unplug. Just get a rollback tow truck and a pair of bolt cutters to cut the cables. There you go. Hmm. There you go. Being in the car exposes you to high voltage fields since the battery is underneath. And sugar eye could probably protect you somewhat. I don't know if it would protect you enough. That's a good point. Very high voltage field because that battery is putting out a lot of energy out. Yeah, that's a good point. Very good point, YD. Very good point. We expose you to a lot of bullshit. So we're gonna see after 20 years if the people that just own those type of cars, if we see these kind of maladies and stuff that can be attributed to being exposed to that kind of high voltage. I tell you one thing that I feel so bad. One little town is where Prince lives, but it's the other side of where Prince lives. Some of these little suburbs of the Twin Cities is land big, and so it's land big. It's not like store big and manufacturing big. Well, Chaska does have quite a few. It has an industrial park, but it's a place that has all these power. You know, this power. It's a power grid where it starts for this area, and it's within probably 3 football fields from this trailer park. And I feel so bad for the people. And it's all older trailers. It's some people that have 8 wheels and park them there all year round. Some people, live in that. They bought an old truck and so they could rent a lot, have water, electricity, but they living in a goddamn, RV. So, but it's just like you're exposed to this high electricity and you live near that. And there's one beautiful house, but through this big field is a lot of them big towers, and the house is near one of them towers. And I'm like, why would you pick that place? Looks like you had enough money to pick where you wanted. Why would you put your house so close to the goddamn power line? I guess he was bragging about the deal he got, but I wouldn't have put my house. I would have put my house far away from them lines as I could on my property. Ah, so I don't know. I think there was one thing I did want to bring up. This one thing too. I want to bring this up. Uh, like this is the thing, and what we're seeing a couple of things that bother me, and I want to speak on that before I forget. So the problem with policing, I've talked about all along, and the problem, like what Charles Barkley said, when you go into European neighborhoods, you're not going to see the lack of policing. But when you go into the inner city where melanated people live, all of a sudden, since there's a like okay, here's a prime example. There was a lady that was in a domestic assault situation. She called the police. The police, she had to meet the police 2 blocks down because the lady lived near where the George Floyd shit is. The police do not go near that shit. The police will not police in that area where George Floyd was killed. So this lady, after like they couldn't even walk her home because she lived too close to that area. So already they are um, segregating themselves, discriminating from going in those areas. But a lot of the crime can be attributed to them. I've said this before. They open up downtowns, the cops is fired, all of a sudden it's shootings at these clubs. We know it comes from them. There's no way to get around it. And so what we ask and what everyone should say is, okay, we want you police to go out, but quit hiring elements out of our neighborhoods to create more problems because that's what we're seeing. Okay, you don't want us? We know how they work. They start hiring out of town elements to come in and wreak havoc and say, see, you do need us. But do you see how they are doing? They're trying to play both sides. They can't just let it go organically because if it works, and this is what I mean by they don't let it go organically. They will not let it go organically because if things get better, it shows you don't need the motherfuckers. And they can't afford that. We're talking about a lot of bread on the line, a lot of bread, a lot of jobs. You got a union trying to fight back. So you don't think they're trying to pay all the money they can and everywhere around the country? Okay, you don't want us? Well, we're going to pay an element to come in and show you need us. So the cry of the people should be, if you see foul shit happening in your neighborhoods and you have the ability to quash it, squash it, catch the motherfuckers and make them tell you who they work for. So people can start showing what's being done to these inner cities. Don't go buying crime to make us show up the people that the people need you. Because you got to see this. That's what they're doing all around the country when people want to replace them. So let it go organically. And anyone that you start policing these, you catch people, catch them. And then start seeing their stories and bring them in front of the cameras. Yeah, you might have to whatever, but make these motherfuckers tell the truth. And then this will keep these motherfuckers from trying to do this shit. You're right. My niece and nephew were walking home from school and was almost caught up in a shootout. There you go. GPS doesn't work 6 feet underground. Bury those Teslas. Yeah, the hairs on my body would always stick up when inside. I would feel so drained after a shift. I would nap as soon as I got. Wow. The surveillance state vehicles, these Teslas, it's obvious. You're right. Caught up in the shootout. My niece was on alert when she saw it up ahead and she stopped them and ran back to the school. Wow. Well, what they had up here is the junior high my son used to go to. It's called Robbinsdale. No, it's called Plymouth Elementary School. A little boy brought a gun to school, and one of my friends on Facebook, her little boy goes to that school, and so they had to, they didn't say, but a boy in 6th, 7th, or 8th grade had a pistol up in the school. He brought a pistol. Nobody got hurt, but still, why and how? How did he have access to it? It's like my point of here in Minneapolis with carjackings. It just don't go up 100%. It just doesn't. The number don't triple. Like motherfuckers ain't joyriding like that. And you can't park the cars out. So it's another element. that has funding by someone local. So they can't, you can't say it's them, but somebody that knew somebody that knew somebody brought them in, because that's the dirty pool they run. So see through this. See through this. And those leaders out there that run your own neighborhoods, catch these motherfuckers. Stake out some shit. Leave traps. Catch these motherfuckers that's coming from out of your hoods that's trying to work for them still. Because that's how they look at it. Well, okay, you think we're not valuable? Well, we'll make sure crime comes in. I mean, I've talked time and time again. When the dope was at its richest, the crack was at its richest, it was them. It was them all doing it. They went from the CIA to all the local police forces, all the intelligence forces in every city. You think back to all these people that was called boomers, all of them. All the big ones, they all was agents. This is how they did it. They controlled it. You think they was gonna just, they bust a couple people. Yeah, Biden put a low level motherfucker that could never say shit, didn't know shit. They were just doing their little local hustle. Okay, you get a couple of those, they turn you in. They kept the business turning. You gotta understand that. This was their thing. They invented it. They brought it in, and they let whatever puppet that would march to them and destroy their people. This is what they did. That Snowfall is showing you that shit. What does he say? He says, if I ain't doing it, they'll bring somebody else. So it might as well be me. That's real enough. That's real enough. But Snowfall stays on their neck that it was them. Motherfucker, all these conservative motherfuckers love Reagan so much. And even the old man is in office now. He had his hand on it, putting motherfuckers in jail. We come up with some, we invent it. We take away all the jobs and all the other opportunities so they be forced to go into this shit. They forced to do it. And then we'll start arresting the low levels, and we'll keep the people that we pay and we get money from. I mean, it was one of the best rackets ever. Like in Hoodlums, when Dutch Schultz, and he has the numbers guy, and he's like, we've taken over policy, and the thing about it is, if we don't want to pay, we can change the number. We can control the racetrack or even the stock market. We can make the numbers be whatever we want them to be, so we ain't got to pay off. So this is, and the meth is the same way now. The weed isn't a threat as much. They finally saw, well, weed was going to take over a lot of things, and that's why they made it illegal. So many uses for it. They couldn't play the game anymore, so they had to buy into it. Remember, they was going to do a Marlboro weed. Remember, they were showing it in the green pack. Marlboro was going to get into the weed business. How do you handle a hungry man? The man handler. We tried to hide cutting the feed. Damn, what are they trying to do? It's a crime. It's reoccurring. It must be organized. There you go. There you go, YT. It's no way it wouldn't be. Mocha's in here. What's happening? Understand, Mocha? So this is what America faced. So when the cat said, "Is America a racist country?" and he said he really is a suppressive country, and that scenario I just put out is a real thing that happened, and it was an attack. Richard Nixon called it an attack on drugs, a war on drugs. It wasn't. It was a war on the melanated people. Fred Hampton saying it didn't matter if you was a cracker, you was a wetback, you was a nigger. It didn't matter. You can join us. We got to work as one. And that's why they were scared of Fred. Huey and them wasn't saying that shit. New York people wasn't saying that shit. Work with everybody. Wasn't saying work with the hillbillies. They didn't say that. Fred said, fuck that. We're going to work with everybody because we being oppressed by them. So why should I feel against, why should an enemy be a person that's being oppressed just like I'm being oppressed? That was Fred's point. He's being oppressed just like I am. So why would that be my enemy? Just because of his rhetoric. And that's the thing that people don't get about Uncle Imbecile. So all the rhetoric and all the posing, but when it came down to it, this motherfucker was putting boot to ass. And a lot of shit that's changed. And we know, as I speak every night, you can order children, you can order young adults now. That's back up. That shit wasn't up under Uncle Imbecile. The shit was harder. Now it's back on. You can order anything you want. I ain't throwing motherfuckers over the fence for nothing. They already bought and paid for it. That shit wasn't going on under Uncle Imbecile. You say what you want. I ain't gung ho jolly for that motherfucker. But I'll say this. Uncle Imbecile, how many niggas did Uncle Imbecile put in prison? Now let's look at Harris and let's look at Biden. That's simple as just simple math. How many niggas did each put in prison? Biden, let's say 1 million. I'd say Harris probably responsible for about 40, 50 to 100,000, if not more. Now let's look at Uncle Imbecile. How many niggas did he put in prison? Under what his policies? Anybody? We got film of both of them talking about putting niggas in jail. Biden said he didn't give a fuck if you was starving. It didn't matter. None of your circumstances matter. If you use a predator, use a super predator because you had to go out there and rob because you was fucking hungry. Then they want to tell you all the money they supposedly gave all these other countries so they wouldn't come up here. That's what they said Uncle Imbecile was doing. It's like, give these motherfuckers enough money, set up these programs so motherfuckers quit coming up here. Let's make these countries prosperous. Now, I don't agree that the U.S. should go in and take over all these countries, and that's what the CIA has done. A lot of these countries in South America. You think these cartels is moving without America's involvement? You think somebody in America ain't getting the money from the cartels? And do you really think that? That they talk shit about the cartels and they got so much military trying to stop them, but you ain't. It's somebody in America, this pockets ain't changed, no matter who's in charge. They still getting money off of these flows of narcotics that's going into their accounts still. And a lot of these same motherfuckers are supposed to be the people fighting this shit. But behind the doors, they getting that cash still. They ain't never gonna stop. And that didn't stop under Uncle Imbecile. They ain't gonna stop now. A lot of other bullshit stopped. It stopped. Saros, that's right. Other than some in the rings, none. Someone told me Biden is doing a way better job than Trump. He did his whole tenure. Yeah, that's 104 people. I remember that Hungry Man commercial. That was Campbell Soup. Yeah, that was a Hungry Man commercial. How do you handle a hungry man? The man handler. I don't know where that shit came from. He hired a bunch of brothers. I mean, Trump tried to, and I don't know if Trump would have stole $100 million from Mike Tyson like King did. There was because of all this local hype, and Mike Tyson's supposed to get this heavyweight fight, possibly with the champion after one exhibition fight. But he's taking a picture with Don King. He jumped on Don King and beat him up. Because Don King only had to come up with about 30 million out of the 100 million. That is what they call no Vaseline. That is fucking somebody. Now I don't know. Trump might have did the same thing to him. Uncle Imbecile has been a scam artist his whole life, so I wouldn't put that past that he did that. But makes you wonder. Definitely makes you wonder. It makes you wonder what is, because Mike Tyson going to prison was a setup. And I don't know if Mike was in on it, but it was a setup. They already knew. They put him in that situation. They already knew. They already knew. They already knew. It was all set up from the beginning to the end. Surprised they didn't have it filmed to throw the hammer down harder. And again, why didn't he box when he went to prison? Ron Lyles, they did one or two of his fights in prison. Tyson could have fought in prison. Why couldn't he? Why didn't he come out in tip-top shape? That made me just think, was this real with him? You go to prison and what, everybody stripped him and he couldn't box anymore? What was his name? Quentin Daly. Quentin Daly got, I think, convicted of raping a girl. And maybe the girl dropped the case or something. When the Bulls drafted before Jordan went to Chicago, Quentin Daly was playing with the Bulls. Very similar. Very similar. Straight no chaser. No, straight no chaser. The way he got Mike Tyson. So, but that's what I didn't understand either. Same way with Biggie. Biggie laying in the bed for a year, ain't nobody throwing no recording equipment in front of him. Motherfucker, you in bed. So his leg hurt, he couldn't rap. Was in bed for almost a year, and there's no music coming from him. That made no sense to me. I mean, if you're an artist now, if you in that much pain and you couldn't do it, okay. But your leg hurt. You had no recordings in almost a year. Makes you wonder if he was real. Because you would have thought it was mad music. Motherfuckers sitting home and that's all, you ain't got a tour or do nothing. How long was Shine in jail before you started hearing, telephone recordings that they tried to put out there? They were just recording him rapping on the prison phone. Somebody put it to a beat. Makes you wonder. And so you have to look at this as with intelligence. All this acting. I mean, I feel bad for Tyson. If he still goes through these fights. His brother's only about 10 years younger than me. Look at Roy Jones. Look how his head is deformed. When did he ever have a big point on his head like he does now? I mean, what do you think he's going to be like? I mean, Sugar Ray Robinson, the old Sugar Ray was like, okay one day, the next day he ain't know nobody. It was like almost literally the next day, the shit hit him. Punch Drunk that's been around forever. I mean, you got to look at the way they set up Ali. It made Ali fight longer than he probably would have fought if they didn't do that bullshit to him. They stopped Joe Frazier from being knocked out in the second round. He's basically about to knock him out so Ali could take more beating in that 10, 12 round fight, whatever it was back then. They stopped him from knocking Joe Frazier out so he would get a quick fight and wouldn't have to take no blows. They didn't want that. Then when he fights Larry Holmes when he's almost 40, they shoot him up with some more shit. That's how scared they was of Ali being retired and Ali might be Farrakhan or some shit like that. Because I've said many times, when Ali was banned from boxing, he did what Malcolm did. That's why so many people loved Ali. Ali went around all the colleges and made that bread. He took Malcolm's place. And that is why so many people loved him. It's because he did that. He went to these baby boomers when they was in college, being thinkers. And Ali, tied up with the anti-war movement. I mean, that should be that word. If you want to put a dollar bill, put it on Ali and put that shit up there. Ain't no Viet Cong ever call me a nigga. Ain't none of these melanated people around these countries, well, recently if they live in America, but they ain't sitting in these countries thinking niggas ain't shit. I mean, not like that. Like niggas ain't shit and, enough for melanated people to want to go fight them. I mean, who is our military? Our military ain't the best and the brightest. It's people that are forced into these situations, other than the officers. Most people are forced because of economics. I just saw, check this out. I got a cousin. We tried to put him in ball. He's 6'8". He's 6'8". He got ampy blood like me. He's 6'8". Couldn't we tried to get him to hoop, but he just didn't really have it. He modeled for a while. Next thing I know, this motherfucker is in the Air Force at 6'8". Father just died. Social economics. He's got to be shit. Hell, trying to think how much younger he is than my oldest. He got to be in his mid to late 20s. I think he older than Brennan, so he got to be 27, 28, somewhere in there. And then you decide to go in the army that at that age. But that's what you see. I mean, somebody did a video years ago where you go to a mall, in the poor mall, in the hood mall, they recruiting like a motherfucker. They don't go to the nice malls. They ain't gonna be at the Mall of America. And this is funny. Burnsville is a suburb, but at the Burnsville Mall, they got a recruiting station. It's a working little town, fairly big. One of the biggest towns around here is Burnsville. Prior Lake is small. Prior Lake only probably got about 30,000 people, if that. Real small area. So this is how they operate. This is how they plan on operating. Because they know zealous is still out there. Imbecile psychopaths are still out there. And they like giving orders. So they go to the military. They figure they get out and be in intelligence or some shit like that. Cops. And it's funny, a lot of people go out and get these loans. You go to military, you can get loans. Or they'll pay for it. You just give them a couple years. And then they'll pay for your college. A lot of people went for that. A lot of people go for the health coverage. Have good health coverage all your life. Biggest issue with the military is if you are in debt when you go in, you'll be drowning in debt by the time you get out. Wow, that's sad. Unc, you making sense as always. All this shit makes you think. Thanks, PJ. Yeah, exactly. Crazy Sarge. He speaks from experience. And then when you get married, if you live on a base, the motherfuckers looking at your woman. And they got that going too. Bring your family on here. And then you be deployed and shit. Motherfuckers don't be deployed. Backstabbers, they smile in your face all the time, want to take your place. To backstabbers. Backstabbers. There's something else you'd have to deal with. I mean, it ain't even careers. How many careers they put out there anymore? Even before this shit, what was careers? Really, what motherfuckers is to say I got a career? Even with education, a lot of times you don't end up having a career. I mean, America used to be where you didn't need a full education to provide a decent job. That's the purpose of the middle class. I mean, I've talked about Henry Ford. Fucked up as he was, Henry Ford paid, what did he pay? $5 a day. He bumped the pay up when they was only making two something. He said, okay, I'm only gonna work the motherfuckers 40 hours a week, and you're gonna make $5 a day. Was that 100 a month? Motherfuckers was buying cribs, buying cars, putting children in college, making 100 goddamn dollars a month. And a whole lot ain't changed. If you can fucking support a family on $100 a month, it seemed like it would be easier when technology is better. Instead, they do the opposite. All this college debt is such a scam. There's not one job in America. When you go into the company, it was just like you was taught in college. Not one. Every company has their way of doing things. Every company. I can give two examples of people that had good careers, not college educated. First one would be my stepfather. My stepfather, GM, gave him a degree in engineering, working for General Motors. I had another brother worked at Pfizer. He had worked there for so long that they made him a chemist. They educated him, made him a chemist. Brother's not with us anymore, but he was like laughing. He was like laughing he said when I started here, I was putting bottles on the line and shit. But fucked around, been here so long. I'm a fucking chemist. I ain't never went to college. I'm a chemist though. So them saying you ain't got the education, ain't experience, could be experience. But again, you got to be taught. Every place you got to be taught. So college is a scam in a lot of ways. Always has been though. That ain't nothing new. Unless you got a scholarship of some kind, it's always been a scam. Giving these loans out. Again, I mentioned my ex-wife went through, she didn't pay for college until she started getting her master's. That was the first time she had to pay. Because she grew up poor, they paid all her college. A lot of students at black colleges did this, end up having decent jobs. But that's one thing where if I would have stayed in North Carolina, I would have did better. I don't think she would have. It's too much competition down there. She had one friend that never got a teaching position. Her whole life she had to teach daycare. Because North Carolina, I mean, a lot of colleges. Not to say it's not up here, but and it's tiny. You know, when I brought my ex to Michigan, my stepmother was going back into working. So my stepmother already had the line in. She had like taught 7, 8 years, then took a couple years off when the children was born, my sisters and brothers. And then by the time we moved back, she was starting. So she knew all the teachers. She knew who, we got her in on the subbing that first year. And the next year she got a job. And never had another job after that. It was her only job. And she was able to retire, probably got in. She probably retired at her early 50s. And regardless of the bullshit I put her through, I made the major move for her life. I made a move where I could have said yay or nay. She wouldn't have had the opportunity. So I put her through a lot of bullshit, but when it came down to it, I set her up in a position where my boys lived in the same house that me and her bought. She lived in the house where me and her bought, that her and her ex bought. He ain't put no money in that house, getting that house. Me and her got it. But I ain't mad. My boys grew up in that house. So I did something positive to help my boys and her. Gave them some security. That was never my role to be next to her. Not permanently. But she got to sit there and reflect and say, this motherfucker did something for me. And I don't regret it. I don't have no regrets. I'm joyful for her. Joyful for him because he was kind of struggling. But that was never going to be my life, being there. I like waking up and being me, playing this role. I like the role of me. I like the way I've turned out. I'm not a super motherfucker, but I'm solid. I'll say that. I'm solid. My best friend just came back from Iowa in the games and stuff and telling me how his son is doing because he know my interest in him and his family. It's my man. His son is 15. We've been friends since his son just turned 2. When I met him, his son had just turned 2 because his birthday's around the same time as mine. He's professional. Work at the university. And I've been me. But he sees the real me. He sees the real me. Barbara came in. Did I miss? Hey, Barbara. Thank you for joining me. Thank you so much for coming in. I know it's a little late, but it's all right. I ain't got nothing to do but get a couple hours sleep and get some chiropractic care. Oh, let me tell you, if I was to ever win the lottery, the first thing I would get is one of them damn rollers that my chiropractor has. You just turn it on and it just works your back. It works your neck. It works your shoulders. Not the water kind. Not the water kind. No, this is just simple rollers in it. And it goes down from your calves all the way back up and back down again. Oh, I just love it. They give me about 10 minutes of that. Then he adjusts me and then he gives me about 20 minutes of acupuncture. So take a hot shower, I get my mind right, and I go in there and just get into it and talk to him inside of my body because that's what it's telling. It's telling these areas that this is what needs healed. It's like all this stuff, you want to start putting stuff in you that's good for you. Your own alchemy, your own medicine, good medicine. Your own medicine is going to be better than any kind of medicine anybody else going to give you or tell you. You know your body, talk to your body. Any motherfuckers say I'm against the plunge. I'm not against the plunge. I take Concentric every month because that shit make me not hurt. I took that goddamn vaccine for shingles because I got people that's in my bloodline that had that shit. And that shit fucks with your nerves, can permanently fuck up your nerves. And I had the chicken pox. So it's a good chance as I get in my 60s, I'll be 60 in about, it was funny, the other day I was gonna be 60 in 60 days. 60 in 60 days. Few less than that. But it was a good chance that shit could hit me when I'm in my 60s. Good chance. Just because people in my bloodline have had it. Oh shit, I'm still loud. Turn my mic down, damn. I don't know. James Lai says that maybe it's too low sometimes. So I'll see. I think it's been loud. Uh, weather's decent, windy, decent windy. It's been nice here. It's supposed to storm and it didn't. It's supposed to rain and it didn't. It's still probably 60 degrees here. It's supposed to be in the 60s all week after being in the 80s. Tell you what, these damn iPhones been tripping. They have been tripping. The Apple products in general have been tripping lately. This motherfucker, I got to get a holder in the car because this motherfucker, because I wasn't looking at it, kept, I was trying to find where the fuck I was trying to go. And it kept, because I wasn't looking at it all the time, it kept dying. Showing me the traffic and shit. Where is this shit? Oh, I'm not doing that. Oops. Do that shit though. Oh, there it was. It just went by. I still don't know this shit like I should. Fuck this phone. How you look at this other one? Shit, I slept with a goddamn fan last night. Says 63. Let's see. 63, but it's supposed to rain. Oh, now it's saying no rain. It's going to be a high of 68 today. So it's going to be nice. Well, it's still showing me Sunday. Monday's supposed to be 61. But doesn't look like any rain. Just cloudy. No rain. Decent all week. 59, 57, 59. Shit, that's wonderful up here. Anything above 32 is wonderful. I switched from iPhone back to Android. Oh, okay. I switched. Like I said before, I switched from. I bought the 12 Max, but I still use this motherfucker more than for everything. I mean, this is my phone. This is the work. It comes from this one. It don't come from the other one. It comes from that one. Just because it's easier to manipulate. It's way easier to manipulate. My son's like, Dad, you just don't know. No. These motherfucking, these Androids is easier to manipulate. They're way easier. the way the apps are and everything. It's just easier to manipulate. There we go. That's all. uh, hmm. Soap, what's happening? Thank you for joining me tonight. I'm gonna wait till the midnight hour. That's when my love come. Oh shit, it's okay. Usually I try to do it an hour and a half. I try to do the and I do I'm still trying to get Awaken one to come on. So I gotta call her. I didn't call her today. So I do. I'm still working on making her when she comes, making it the best I can do for her. 15 would be men. Men is from the West. Here's the fractal. Man is also considered to be ego. Higher collective mind, planetary mind, conscious mind. Yeah, and the energy is out of the West. But this is actually a new division called the fulfillment stage. So it'll go west, south, east, east back to south. So, yeah, so. And then the Toltec, okay. All right, this is a good one. In this card, we can see a eagle warrior. We know this because of the feather on his head. He is painted in black, which together with the red and the colors of knowledge. Being painted black signifies his reunification of the mundane world and his dedication to the quest of his spiritual knowledge. The warrior is quote quoto in its human form. He is throwing a spear that represents both the attention and the number one, symbol of the great spirit, the one. On top part of the card, we see an eyeball representing the action of attending. The image of Quetzalcoatl in his eagle warrior fashion is to remind us of looking only at the mundane world and to focus on attention on the presence of the one. In this way, we can maintain our equilibrium, which should be our top goal for dual-natured being as we are. The eagle card represents freedom of evolution from the low through your own effort. Getting the card means that you can elevate yourself from whatever is oppressing you, no matter how low you think you are. The freedom that the eagle spirit portrays is self-liberation process that isn't detected against any exterior enemy. The only real enemy is our attachment to action, situation, and habits that give us no life, but that which we remain attached to out of fear of trying something new. The eagle's voice says, you can stop the habit that is killing you now. You can leave that person who does not respect you now. You can leave a job that is killing your spirit. You can start now living in the life that your spirit longs for. You can stop hurting your body by eating the way that isn't good for you. You can leave behind the physical or emotional addictions that sustain your false mask of weakness. You can change those things now. You're much stronger than you have ever imagined. This is the evolution that the eagle represents. The barriers to do better, to better a life has always been inside. And inside is the first place where you should overcome them. Interchange will be expressed in actions that will empower your life and your world. Be aware that the evolution of the eagle doesn't happen through fighting against, which crawls. It is the transmutation that is something higher. Psychologically and spiritually, it means that you will achieve your evolution through your passion for flying and not through fighting with the negative parts of yourself. What you consider to be negative parts are going to be transmuted by the search for evolution. Instead of thinking in terms of destroying the parts of yourself or your life that give you trouble and do you no good, think about transmuting them. First, try to determine the good that you are trying to achieve through your mistaken behavior. Look behind the action. Ask yourself, what good was I trying to achieve through this behavior that is important for me? Whatever you find, keep asking the same question. If you do not get to the bottom of your motivations, you will find out that you are looking for something positive even in your most negative behavior. Think about teenagers who go to the beach to get drunk, leave the place full of trash, and then risk by driving drunk. It is an example of destructive behavior, but at the bottom of their hearts, they are looking most likely, without knowing it, to make a connection with something higher that may provide stability and a sense of security for their souls. They do not know it, but they yearn for the Great Spirit as much as any other being. They just don't know a better way. The message is find out the seed of good hidden in your negative behavior and fit it into ways to achieve what you seek. Um, what is the problem am I dealing with? Why am I getting stuck in this problem? What if I forget that part for a moment and consider the bigger scheme of this situation? What is the bigger picture and what is the situation in the situation that's happening? What part of myself am I investing my relationship with so and so? Is it the best of me? What influence does that have on our relationship? What are the best parts of myself? How would I act with that person if I put myself into their situation? Have I listened to my ego spirit? In which direction does the ego want me to go? If I was one with the source, the sun, how would I express that connection in my everyday life? What is the dream that my ego spirit is longing for? Do I want to keep repeating the same patterns, or I'm already able to start on my new journey? So I hope that resonates with somebody and hits you in your protons. Oh, oh, so that is so kind for you to say. I did get my garden going today. 6 tomatoes and 4 peppers, 2 strawberries and 1 cucumbers, 2 blueberries planted. Also outstanding. Never gotten to the products. The screen or images appear more sharp. I don't know. Good with my droid though. I'll say that yeah, the picture. I'll say the two pictures. Like I compare the pictures. This is a little more washed out, but more 4K. This one seems to be a little more vivid, but better 4K for that phone for sure. Better 4K, yeah. So, mm, oh, lost my place. It's like I was saying yesterday. I got a new rig, and I used my rig before I went out amongst my day, and I was feeling it. I mean, I did my rig, and it did. The effects didn't leave me. I left here. I must have did my rig about 11:30. I didn't come back home until 4, and I was still. I mean, my shit was still pink. So I'm glad my friend didn't mind because I was definitely funky blind. I was funky blind, and but that's me. So you like me for who I am. I like you for who you are, and that's what. Let's go for it. Wasn't like she's like, "Are you high?" Well, yes, I am, but I love shopping when I'm high, so let's go for it. There you go. So you got to be you. You can't be high and you. You got to be you. But like I was saying last night, life is good because it's life. And so you might as well be joyful. Rich say, get a little sun, rub that sun around you. Can't be a Debbie Downer all the time. Overcome fear. Nothing like a shopping high. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Me and her was perfect match for that. Perfect match for the shopping. Because that's my thing. And it's funny where we went. My Marshalls was closer, but I'm kind of glad I went to the other one, even though it's not as big. They had some shit I didn't, the other store I know didn't have nothing I wanted. Might go get me a silky shirt though. I saw a silky shirt that reminded me of the '70s silky shirts when I was a child. I looked at all the teenagers and the young men and I thought, I need to have a silky shirt. I had the thick and thin socks, but the silky white beaters and the silky, shirts like this was the thing in the '70s something. I was a young pimp back in them days. And they ain't cost that much. It was like I had thick and thins. I mean, as a young boy, you get exposed to them. I had Stacy's and wingtips as a young boy. It was just how my mother and my father, that's just how they dressed. When I wanted a pair of dress shoes, like when Stacks came out and I was in seventh grade, yeah, I had a pair of Stacks. More like platforms, more platforms, you know. All that shit that used to be in Flag Brothers, the high-waisted Sanzabel pants. The pants was knit. That became the thing. People quit wearing a lot of jeans, and you got the word of knit. But I think one of the best fashions that I liked was going into my senior year. The Vietnamese shirts came in, the no collar shirts. I love wearing them shirts and wearing them all the way buttoned up. I had a bunch of them, and they was like cotton shirts, but they no collars. I think my senior year, I didn't start wearing collars probably to the end of the year because the style changed. Like right before New Wave hit, we was wearing the skinny ties like in the '60s, like slightly high water pants, no bells, and white shirts with skinny ties. That was kind of what the disco thing, and then you would get a jacket and you go to the club with a skinny tie right before the New Wave hit. That's how we was kind of like right when I graduated, that's what we was wearing. I remember it was this African brother. It was like I would come to school with a skinny tie and a white collar shirt, and then a day or two later he would show up with one. So it's like we was kind of competing on seeing people that knew how to dress. Then New Wave came and it was the total opposite. Dress raggedy. They called this shit grunge. It was the same. You went back for like we had got out the hippie stage because hippie was all about how bad you could dress. That was hippie style. Hippie wasn't you wasn't wearing new shit unless it was new hippie shit. And the hippie shit didn't really look new. So like when people wore the elephants, I mean people don't talk about elephant legs. A lot of hippies wore elephant legs and they wanted to see how much they could destroy the elephant legs by dragging them. You walk and the pants is dragging. That was a style, elephant legs. And you would let your jean, it would tear up the jean, and people liked when they got tore up. I didn't understand it in the wintertime because these idiots had like soggy jeans that got to stinking, but that wasn't my thing, but it was a thing. I didn't go back and forth in my mind when I am high in the stores. I don't go back and forth about, oh, there you go. You want to spend more when you're high, or does everything look good? No, it's the same. It's the same. I look for shit I don't have. That's what I look for. I look for shit I don't have. I get to tweaking though, checking my keys, checking my phone. That panic where you hit the pocket and shit, and it's like, God damn, where's the phone? So I do get to doing that shit, and I just laugh at myself when I do. But like again, I was stupid yesterday. I didn't wear my plastic mask. That's why I had the snuffles today when I went to the store. And I old man today. I end up, and maybe I told this story when I started, but my daughter wasn't feeling good, so she just wanted some crackers. So I went to the store basically just to get her crackers. But I picked up popsicles, I picked up Powerade, and I picked up water. And I was in the store and said, is there one more item I need to get? And myself said, no, go back home. So I go back home, give my daughter a popsicle, uh, put the water up, give her the Powerade. She didn't want it. I put it in the fridge. And I sit down. She says, Dad, where's the crackers? That was the main reason I went to the damn store was to get the crackers. And I'm looking around like, So when I had that aha moment in the store, this is what it was for. To go back and get it was like you were supposed to get the goddamn crackers. But I was supposed to buy a razor too, and they didn't have my brand. So maybe that was why. So I went back to the stores and I had the young men that served me in line laugh at me. They laughed at me. They said, "Yeah, you forgot something. The wife make you come back." I said, "Well, close the daughter." They're like, "You just can't stay away." But we knew you had to forget something, so they gave me the business the whole time I'm sitting there just laughing at shit. And I'm buzzed, so I'm laughing back. So yeah. But then my daughter ate. I roasted some fresh green beans, fresh snap beans, and yeah, made a little something. So she got some. Ate a couple apples, all my fruit up. So yeah, yeah. GANCO. Okay, they call them snack pants now, stack pants now, but they get from the past with the elephant legs. Okay, they call them stack pants now, but they got it from, oh, they call them stacks. Okay, stack pants. Yeah, they used to call them elephant legs, and most of the European young ladies wore that shit. And it was like how much they could tear them at the bottoms. That's what was popular. They always dragged. And when I say that most of the European young ladies wore that shit, I'm saying most of them did. It was a thing. It was definitely a 70s thing. That's funny though, Valerie. That's funny. They still sell that shit. Like I saw the elephant, what do they call it? The cow necks. This winter they came back out with the cow necks. They was even having cow necks. I guess my little pullover kind of have a cow neck for a man shirt. Uh, but yeah, that shit came back in style, and that was like 1978 senior pictures. Everybody in the senior pictures for the women had cow necks, like just like maybe it was even 77 because the girl I was talking about, I was so in love with Sue McGrew. I remember her senior picture. I think she had a cow neck shirt on. I could be wrong, but it seemed like 77, 78 pictures. It was a lot of them damn cow necks. You know, the turn, the dramatic turn, like you sitting this way and you turn and shit. And then the dumbass pictures that had a picture of you here, then another exposed picture up there looking another way, profile and shit. Yeah, some stupid shit back then. I remember I had a loft in the house. My first wife and I we had an upstairs loft, so that was kind of where I got high with like. So all my friends would come over, we'd go upstairs and they call them carpenter's room is really what they are. And so a lot of people just you got this extra space and you just make it like a little living room upstairs. And there was a picture of me like as soon as you get up the stairs of me in profile. I was like, like I'm about 22, 23, and it's like I remember my friends would always point to it. They start laughing. Profile, you profiling. They laugh at me and shit. So I changed the picture to something else. I think I put my ex pictures there, took mine down, put it somewhere else so they couldn't tease me. Sweater dresses are back. Sweater dresses are back too. I don't know if they yeah. It was like I was looking at jerseys, and you can get the jersey dresses. Remember when the jersey dresses was popular? You can get the jersey dress. I just thinking about the jersey dresses. I know this chick that turned out her daughter because she was on it, and I just remember the few times I saw her daughter, she was always wearing a little jersey dress, Celtics or Lakers back then. And then I heard the stories about her later. Sad thing. And her mom was cool. I didn't know when her mom got turned out because I used to work with the chick's mom. And she was cool. She's like, I smoke Newports and that's about all. I guess Newports became not enough at one point in their life. Them pictures are funny. Yeah, those pictures are funny with the profile and shit. It's like, what the fuck is you thinking? Why would you let somebody playing with the exposure and shit? You can get one people looking like, hey, can I get one like that with the double head in it? Yes, you can. This is for the second exposure. So what do you want in the first exposure? You turn and shit. What do you want for the second one? And you like looking away. Oh, and this is I think we talked about this too. I was looking at the pictures. It's like the prison poses. It's like people want to take prison poses now. Men, when you lean all the way down and you got like your arms on your knees, that's kind of a prison pose. So when you down, like on the ground on your legs and bending low and your arms is out, that's prison poses, baby. Seems like prison poses is popular and shit. My sons want to take pictures and they're doing all these prison poses. I'm like, you know where that come from, don't you? Those are all prison poses. So, guys, don't bend down like in the picture. You know how you can bend down and you kind of like, stooping. Don't stoop. That's prison poses, baby. I haven't seen a sweater dress in a minute. I was just, I think I was looking through Fanfare or I was looking through Lids and I saw one. I saw a dress, the jersey dress. I was like, damn, these motherfuckers is back. But it made me think of that girl. That's why as I was telling the story, it wasn't a fun story because I remember the girl got turned out. And I just remember seeing her when she was young. So that's what it reminded me of. I remember those double exposure pictures. They was a thing in the 70s and 80s. Yeah, yeah. But just think you going in there just to take a regular picture, and you see that shit, and something tells you. But that's how they try to do the hook. It's like, or you went over to your friend's house and you saw it, and you was like, well, that really looks nice there. The double heads, two heads are better than one, I guess. Can I get one of those? Yes, you can. And the photographer black, all these dumb motherfuckers taking this stupid shit. I thought it was RIP to sweater dresses. Well, I'm saying these jersey dresses is back in style too. So you have sweater dresses. I saw coming in because I admit I go to Macy's like every other day. I just was lazy today. Because this to me, this is the best time of year to buy clothes. Clothes. And Macy's had the best clothes, hands down. As far as quality, yeah. Right now, if you want suits, Macy's is the place to get suits. You motherfucker to wear suits, and I mean, you can still see some thicker tweed, not just summer suits. You know, get some suits that be like late winter suits still. I looked at the Calvin Klein shit that was like $500-600. It was like 180. Nice suit. I almost bought the motherfucker. I put it on. It's just I don't really dress like that a whole bunch. The ones I got just sit there. I really don't. I think last Christmas I was invited to a Christmas party. I didn't go. It was like 50 minutes away, which I wasn't too thrilled of driving nighttime down there to see her anyway. And she gave me a little unconfident. I had got gas, my car was packed, but she had a little panic in her voice. Like, you're still coming. That was the wrong thing to say to me. Don't question if I'm coming. I'm calling you to tell you I'm coming, but I don't want to hear all that doubt shit. And the more she sounded doubtful, the more I was like, well, I like being at home, and I didn't particularly want to go to this motherfucker anyway. She's like, well, I'm done with you. I was like, well, you had a weird ass roommate that stole my beer. You didn't say anything about replacing my beer, and you were very selfish in your ways. I'll say that. So it wasn't a big deal for me to walk away. Macy's is my store. Their clothes last a long time. Just wash them in cold water, gentle cycle, or take the motherfuckers to the cleaners. They do it. My cousins are notorious for taking club pictures. I got a partner who lives in his nickname is Nuclear, and Nuclear is in maybe St. Petersburg, but that's what was his thing. So I know he got hit hard by the COVID. That was his thing. Is he had a little thing where he took pictures in the clubs. Yeah, all the girls. It's funny. All the girls want to show their asses. It's just funny to me. Well, I'm a little high, a little drunk, and I want to show my ass. That's kind of funny to me. I find that kind of funny when people do that. But yeah, you get people taking the prison pictures. Like you can't just take a picture and stand there. Like Seth MacFarlane made funny of his one movie where they're showing all the people from the 1800s never smiled and shit. It wasn't that they didn't smile. It was like, okay, so say it taking 3 minutes to take the picture, and you smiling for 3 minutes, and he catch you, when you get tired, and he catch you right at that second when you get off your smile. So that's why they told you not to smile, because it might take him a minute to take the motherfucker. So you don't want to be cheesing, and then he catch you in the, when you coming out of the cheese. So that's why they didn't smile. You still see a few, but that is why. Because these motherfuckers sitting there with this motherfucker looking at you and trying to get the light and looking at you. And yeah, it takes them a minute back in them days. Uh, I could have swore I was wearing the heck out of those around the 90s. Overstand. That's funny. Uh, oh. And it's funny with men, like men don't keep clothes like women. Women keep clothes, men don't. We normally don't. I think I have one shirt from, it's funny, like I've lost almost all my trophies, or they got broke. The children broke them when they was little. I've lost almost all of them. The one trophy I have is my shirt from we won the top division in 2000. I still have that shirt. It has got holes in it, everything, but I still have it. And it's like we bitched about getting the shirts because she didn't give us trophies, the girl who ran the program. And we bitched about it. And here I don't have any of the trophies, but I got this motherfucking shirt. So the shirt lasted where the trophies didn't. They were popping for a minute. So the most, yeah, like I got that LeBron shirt. That shirt is right here. Um, I bought that shit in I think the summer of 14 or the summer of 15. I've had it that long. That's my oldest part of clothes. I bought this is how stupid I was. I bought a goddamn suede jumpsuit. I bought that in like 12 or 13. A suede motherfucking jumpsuit. And it's brown. It's like doo brown. And I just threw that motherfucker away. It's like, I'm never going to wear this motherfucker again. I don't know what got into me when I bought the shit. And I bought the shit thinking the shit was fly. Yeah, it only had about a half season of flyness. After that, it was some ugly shit. The jacket wasn't bad; it was a suede jacket, but the shit was just old. I found that shit was like I ain't gonna never wear this shit, and threw the shit away. Couldn't even. I wouldn't even take it into Goodwill because the shit was so old, just so like yeah. But that's what happens sometimes. That's the thing about tennis shoes. Unless you get some crazy color, sneakers. Unless you hard on them, last forever. They stay in style. Outfit was too easy. Just choose the shoes and your showstopper. There you go. There you go. That's it. That's how easy it used to be. But that's the cool thing about the sneakers. And a lot of the Jordans, as I said, I gave that shit away. And I mean the real Jordans, not this shit that they make them again because they ain't as good as shoes. It's one thing that I like about Read My Soul does a thing too. He comes in on here every now and then. And see, he does the thing where he talks about the shoes and stuff. But the wear testers now, he admits that the shoes ain't the same shoes. Unless you get the Jordan, the newest ones. The remakes, they ain't the same. They walking around shoes. Like the Air Force Ones was. That's what's funny is Air Force Ones used to be the cheapest Jordans you could buy. They was the cheapest ones, and now they some of the most expensive ones because they're in a certain color. I don't get that. They went from being the cheapest Jordan you could buy to now a top brand. Starching y'all, starching all. Starching all or no? They still put hard creases in pants. No, they used to. It reminds me of my ex-wife's uncle. When I met this mug, he was like that. Starch jeans. That kind of never was a thing. I think when I was in college, though, on the East Coast, the country dudes in North Carolina used to starch their jeans. I take that back. They used to starch corduroys because, again, you had a lot of people coming from the coast, from New York and shit. Like I remember the first time I played basketball with a motherfucker wearing a polo. I was like, I'm gonna destroy you. It is no way you could ever check me wearing a goddamn polo. And I used to destroy motherfuckers. I'm like, you got the dude wearing the polo guard me? That was crazy to me. Motherfuckers used to hoop in polo shirts. And I'm like, there's no way I can take you serious. So yeah, that shit was starch used to be a thing. You could buy the little chunks of starch and put them in your iron, and you had to shh. And I tell a joke a motherfucker got on me. I had starched and ironed a pair of my corduroys. Well, it was the part the iron liked it too much. And so we're walking into the cafeteria, and my best friend's behind me, and they're just laughing. First, I hear the niggas laughing, so I know they're about to say some shit about me. And my friend came up to me, he's like, you need to take it easy on that starch next time. And I knew I did the shit. I was like, maybe the motherfuckers won't see the shit. Yeah, my best friend saw that shit. They're like, yeah, take it easy on that iron next time, buddy. Looks like you burned your ass a little bit. So I had to do nothing but eat it. I had to do nothing but eat it. That's all I could do. So I can laugh at myself. Uh, I can definitely laugh at myself. Like I would tell everybody when I tell a joke, I'm trying to make me laugh. If the shit is funny to me, I'm happy. I don't care how people take it. If I laugh, then it was a good joke to me because it made me laugh. That's how I look at it. So, well, guys, I'm gonna call it a night. This has been 7 days straight. 7 days straight. I didn't take off any days because of the full moon. So, thank you for having an audience. I appreciate that. I appreciate the audience. As I said before, if one person watch me who works for YouTube, that's okay. Google, the Google employee that you watch me, I'll try to bring it just as I bring it as the number it shows. I don't sit here and say, like that's what gets matched me. If it's nobody watching, these motherfuckers be like on their phones and shit. Like chicks be like, give me a little money. Nah, bitch, I'm not giving you shit. Oh, PJ, thank you. I appreciate that you come on and check this old pimp out because I have fun with it. I have fun with it, y'all. Don't think I'm coming on tomorrow. I'll talk to a couple people that know Awaken will probably mad at me. Um, but I'm sorry. I was still trying to work some stuff out too, and I didn't make it back. So what can I say? Now, I anticipated being back sooner. I wasn't. And I want to make her, I'm kind of trying to enhance how we can make her show better. I think I've let her down in that way. So I want to actually help her make her show better. And then, and I got to call James and have James come back on. So, yeah, that'll come up. I'll take these, more than likely, I'm going to be off these next 2 days. Might do a sports show tomorrow. So if I come on early, it's probably a sports show. But more than likely, I'll be off for a couple of days, y'all. So I appreciate it. As you know, I always end with Eshawn. So I'm not a New York rapper or a LA gang banger. I'm just an old school Detroit crack slanger. This has been the Chocolate Mountain Show. And I've been your host, Eight Wind, Time Lord, Time Walker. May the hero twins give each and every one of you your own continuous ball game. Till we meet again.